He was crowned emperor of one of the world's oldest empires, a direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. His name was spoken with reverence, his future blazing with promise. And then he vanished, erased from history, his throne stolen, his name forbidden. This is the story of Emperor Haile Selassie I, but not the one you think. This is the story of his eldest son, the Crown Prince who was meant to rule, the man who became the lost king of Ethiopia.
In the vibrant and ancient capital of Addis Ababa, a prince was born into destiny. Asfaw Wossen, the first son of Emperor Haile Selassie, was raised from birth to inherit the Lion Throne. His world was one of immense privilege, ancient ceremony, and immense expectation.
He was educated by the finest tutors, schooled in diplomacy, and groomed to lead a nation that was cautiously stepping into the modern world while fiercely guarding its timeless traditions. The young prince was the living symbol of Ethiopia's future.
But this gilded life was a gilded cage. His father, a formidable and shrewd leader, was a difficult man to follow. Asfaw Wossen's every move was watched, his opinions often overshadowed, living perpetually in the long shadow of the Lion of Judah.
The prince's world and that of his entire nation was shattered in 1935. Fascist Italy, under Benito Mussolini, launched a brutal invasion. The world watched as modern warfare was unleashed on an ancient kingdom. Emperor Haile Selassie made a legendary plea to the League of Nations, while the Crown Prince witnessed the horrors of war firsthand. The invasion was a crushing defeat. The royal family was forced into exile, their kingdom occupied, their people subjugated. For 5 long years, Asfaw Wossen lived as a prince without a kingdom, an heir without a throne. The experience of exile, of powerlessness and loss would mark him forever, fundamentally shaping the man he was becoming. With the Allied victory in 1941, the emperor was restored to his throne in a wave of jubilation. The Crown Prince returned home, but the man who came back was not the same boy who had left. Haile Selassie, hardened by exile and fiercely protective of his authority, began to centralize power. Asfaw Wossen was given titles, Crown Prince, President of the Senate, but no real power. He was a figurehead, trapped in a gilded cage of ceremony and duty. As the 20th century progressed, the winds of change began to blow fiercely across Africa and the world. The old order was being challenged by a new generation hungry for democracy and reform.
In 1960, while the emperor was away, a coup was launched by the Imperial Guard. The plotters captured Asfaw Wossen and forced him to read a radio announcement accepting the new government.
The coup failed, but it deeply scarred the nation and the royal family. Though he was a victim, the Crown Prince was now tainted by association in his father's eyes, his perceived weakness a mark against him.
The 1970s brought famine and widespread discontent. The emperor, now in his 80s, seemed disconnected from his people's suffering. Asfaw Wossen, who was known to have more moderate and reformist views, watched as the empire crumbled.
In 1974, one of the world's oldest monarchies ceased to exist. The imperial throne of Ethiopia, a seat of power that claimed descent from King Solomon, was simply abolished. For the man born to inherit it, Asfaw Wossen, son of Emperor Haile Selassie, It was the culmination of a life spent waiting for a crown that was being systematically dismantled before his eyes.
With the fall of the Derg in 1991, the door to Ethiopia cracked open again. Other members of the royal family returned, welcomed as cultural symbols. But for the true heir, Asfaw Wossen, there was no triumphant return. His health was broken, and the new government had no interest in a restored monarchy.
His legacy was not one of deeds, but of absence. He became a footnote, a curious piece of historical trivia. While his father, Haile Selassie, achieved immortality as a global icon, and his nephews found roles as ambassadors of heritage, Asfaw Wossen's name faded into obscurity. He passed away in 1997, his death barely a ripple in the world news. The throne he was born for had vanished long before he did, and with his passing, the direct line of succession was quietly extinguished.
To ask, what if he had ruled, is to question the entire trajectory of modern Ethiopia. Could a reforming king have prevented the terror and bloodshed? It is a question without an answer, lost to the silence of history. The story of Asfaw Wossen is defined not by his presence, but by his absence. He was absent during the coup that used his name, absent during the revolution that destroyed his family, and absent from the country he was born to lead.
He remains the forgotten link between the ancient Ethiopia of emperors and the modern nation-state it has become. He is the Shadow King, a reminder that history is not only written by the victorious, but is also shaped by the stories of those who were never given the chance to make theirs.
In the end, Asfaw Wossen's reign was not measured in years, but in a lifetime of quiet what-ifs. His true legacy is the enduring mystery of the king who wasn't there. The story of the lost king is a history of what might have been, but it doesn't end here. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to uncover more forgotten histories, subscribe now. This story was almost erased. Don't let it be forgotten. Share this video.